Welcome back to the Cub Den, boys and girls. My name is Mrs. Scott, and today I'm so excited to read to you this story. It's called the Twilight Tortuga, and Tortuga means turtle in Spanish. Twilight Tortuga, and what's really special about this book was that it was written and illustrated by a friend of mine, Kymberly K. Larson. I met Kymberly when we were in middle school together, in junior high, so I'm very excited to share this book with you. Lights out, lights out. My mama and I love to shout. Let's see the beautiful art that Kymberly did. Really, we whisper just above the melody of the waves. Lights out, lights out. We remind others that this is the way we care for the Twilight Tortuga. This is just one of the many ways we help her find home so she may lay her eggs. It's time to turn off our lights. It's time to bring in the chairs. It's time to pick up our toys and time to destroy the sandcastles of the day. It's time to check for trash left on the beach and for holes in the sand dug way too deep. It's time to make the beach ready for the guests that may arrive. For others, it may be time for bed. For me, I am getting ready to go outside instead. I am going out to the beach to watch for the arrival. I am ready for the night. I am ready to see the Tortuga again. In silence, in silence and darkness, and only with the moon's light, I can see her. I raise my arm and point. Lights out, lights out. Our guest has arrived. Look at that beautiful art. She pulls herself out of the water, exhausted from her long journey. I wait and watch as she slowly drags herself up to the dry sand of the beach. I hardly recognize her. She is so much bigger than she was 2 years ago. She is returning to the very same spot, the place where we first met. She finds her perfect place and uses her flippers and large shell to move the sand out and away. The sand flies into the air and she is making a hole. This is where she will lay her eggs. I watch and make certain she is not disturbed by someone out for a moonlight walk. So the child is saying, stop, be careful, there's a turtle here. I listen for birds or dogs or anyone that may try to take her eggs. After her eggs are laid, I make sure she finishes her job of covering them with sand and disguising her nesting place. When she is done, she pulls her giant body back into the ocean, heaving sand in all directions. The tracks she leaves on the beach are the only evidence that she came to visit. And here it says, she is silent as she slips back into the water. By the light of the moon, the Twilight Tortuga begins her long journey home. I feel the moon leading me home as well. It is finally time. That is, until I see the sand at my toes shift and move. Goodness. The ground erupts at my feet, a joyous volcano of tiny sea turtles, tiny tortugas. The night's work is not over yet. As we watch the hatchlings make their way out of the secret hole on the beach, these babies don't need much help climbing out of the sand. The lights of the city confuse them. Some of the hatchlings head toward the streets and some waddle toward the waves. I help guide the confused ones to the ocean and wave goodbye to them all. The water pulls the hatchlings out towards their new home. So the hatchlings are looking for the lights of the stars reflecting and the moon reflecting on the water. They're looking for that type of light, but sometimes the lights from the city confuse them and they go the wrong direction. It's very dangerous for the baby tortugas. Twilight Tortugas, so many in one night. My bed is calling and it is time to rest. I am finally ready for the night. Lights out, I whisper as I pull my covers up high. Lights out, lights up, good night. Twilight Tortuga, good night. Boys and girls, what a special story. And sometimes we don't think about lights being pollution, but lights near the edge of the water like that can really be considered pollution. They confuse the little tiny tortugas after they hatch. Another thing that my cubs and I discussed when we first read this book was oftentimes when we leave the beach, we leave our big sandcastles built because it's kind of cool to leave them. But remember, if there's a turtle trying to lay eggs around there, that big sandcastle might confuse them also, or deep holes might confuse them, or they might lay their eggs too deep and the hatchlings can't get out. So lots of things. Just like when the mama tortuga left, she only left her little flipper prints of getting back to the water. We shouldn't leave anything either. We shouldn't leave holes. We shouldn't leave sandcastles. No trash. Make sure you pick up all of your items when you leave a beach or a park, for sure. I hope you enjoyed that story, boys and girls. I'll see you again soon in the Cub Den. Bye-bye.